What's up, folks? Hope you're all doing well. As per usual, welcome back to more esports talk. I've been telling you guys the NRG Duo podcast. In case you guys want some great insights behind the scenes, NRG, of course, they're stemming teams as well, San Francisco Shock, alongside the Chicago Huntsmen. If you guys want more insight, Hector Rodriguez, Andy Miller, both co-CEOs, have their own podcast, and I will be picking and pulling every time and again when I actually get the chance to listen to it. This past week, guys, in their latest podcast, I would say a clip out there that most other CEOs, I'm sure a lot of them actually do have similar circumstances, but certainly something I stem for all of you guys of why players, especially COD players, would want Hector Rodriguez as their CEO and operating their Call of Duty lineup. It was actually this past weekend to actually make top 4 for Call of Duty League champs. It just so happened to be one of the best series we have ever seen in Call of Duty, and also in Call of Duty League ever since, this is it being its first season. It comes down to make top 4 Optic Gaming versus Chicago Huntsmen. Pretty ironic, right? Also goes down to a map 5, round 11, 1v1, and a figure out there ever since joining who's been under a lot of flack and fire as Huntsman fans, just like Optic fans, are diehards. They're very hard on their players when they do not succeed or live up to expectations. Prestinni has been under a lot of fire as of late, so before that series, Hex sent him a text, and I think this is why a lot of people would love Hex as their CEO.
He's his own man, and he's going to choose to do what he wants to do. And I immediately saw that. I hit him up privately. I told him what I need to tell him. And then again, the following day, I hit him up privately, and I told him, like, yo, you're good, man. Just forget about yesterday. I'll tell you exactly what I told him just as it says, F yesterday. Today you show these dudes who you are. All the doubters and non-believers will have shit to say when you shut them the F up, turn up, get this win, and let's go f shit up next weekend. And he said, appreciate the good words, boss. Thank you. Got you today. And then after that, I said, with the storms coming up, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy to give anybody a pep talk. I'm not the guy to, I respect these dudes enough to understand and know what it is. But I don't know. I felt like writing it in that moment, so I did.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure there's plenty of CEOs that would send this. Hex actually goes on to say he's not usually this type of guy, just to throw it out there as well. Even more than that, I can see a guy like G2 Ocelot being just like this character, where he texts you, yo, F it up, man. Go F things up. I know that would fire me up if my CEO ever just texted me random like, Jake, Jake, I was reading those comments, man. They're gutting you. But man, F it up, dude. Go get it. I would love that, right? And you love hearing these kind of instances, these kind of behind the scenes things. That's why I personally really enjoy the NRG Duo podcast, because they share these little insights that no one else is really sharing currently right now. And it kind of showcases why esports content is so undervalued. I think 10 years from now, we'll be in a different book. Also, I want to give you guys more content when I do these little tidbit videos. Hex goes on to talk about the reverse circumstance, which I didn't even think about when I made my original video on an amazing series, that being Huntsmen taking out and eliminating Optic. I mean, the historical storylines for that alone are pretty crazy. Hex goes on to talk about how nervous he was the entire series long, not even watching the series, and he brings up a great point. What if Optic would have beat Huntsmen and the roles were reversed? I didn't even think about that.
I was at home, I ate breakfast, and I said, all right, it's time to go. It's time to play. And then I'm like, all right, let me go get something from the mini Hex quarters. So I go into the streaming room, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch it from here. I'm comfortable right here. This is good zen. I'm going to be here. This is what I'm saying. All right, this is where it's going to be. This is where it's going to be. I get a text Josefo, and I text Sender. I'm like, yo, let me know the score as it's happening. He's like, all right, cool. We play in like, he's like, we start in like 45 minutes. So I'm like, okay, cool. All right. At the 30-minute mark, I'm like, I can't be here. I gotta go. So I get in my car, I drive to the Hex quarters. I get here, I walk in, and then I'm like, "What's up? We're playing?" He's like, "No, this match has to finish." And I'm like, "Oh!" Immediately, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta take a shit. I gotta go." So I got so nervous on the way here. I was so nervous. I had bubble guts, and I'm like, "All right, I'm going back home." So I go back home, and I'm just sitting there, man, and I get a text that says we are up 1-0. Right? And then like an hour passes. I'm distracting myself. Like I'm doing everything possible to distract myself. I'm playing Fall Guys. I'm going into the theater room, watching a show, watching a YouTube video, like just trying to fucking get my mind off of it. I'm like, fuck, any other team, man, any other team.
Wait, so when we got to map 5, you were not watching live?
No, No.
Whoa.
No, I was at home scared. I was at home like shaking in my boots. No, I'm kidding. I was distracting myself. I get a text from Josefo. And it's like, yo, we won. No way. Round 11. Envoy clutched it. I'm like, what? I drive to Seth's house. I'm coming over. We're making out. Just obviously kidding, right? Knock on the door. His girlfriend comes, opens the door. And I'm like, I gave her a big hug. Jetted in there. I just gave him the biggest hug ever. I'm like, I'm like, you mothers. And then he's like this. He's just like leaned back in his seat, just like, oh, dude.
I mean, I'm sure both Optic, Huntsmen, they go on, they do their own thing, but we were all so incredibly hyped, at least myself personally, that the Huntsmen eliminated Optic. What if we just switch the roles, right? Especially when it pertains to Optic Gaming social media. Not the players. I'm not going to blame the players for what their Twitter manager does do, but so far throughout this season, they've been making some jabs at the Huntsmen and at the old Optic, some of which we've talked about here. And most recently, Optic Gaming had that giant jab video now deleted at Call of Duty League entirely. Imagine what they would have done on social media had they eliminated Huntsmen. I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, the players probably would have been very respectful. The social media team almost would have had to do something, right? I mean, you pay $100 million for the Optic Gaming brand, and then you defeat the person who you bought it from in part in HECZ and, of course, the Huntsmen, and especially with the ongoing rivalry. I mean, that would have been nuts, and I didn't even think about that. Until next time, hope you guys all enjoy. If you want to check out the NRG Duo podcast, feel free to do so. Until then, take care, stay hydrated. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.